Hello everyone, welcome to Techie. For decades now, APIs have been the invisible engine that powers our entire digital world. They're the reason your food delivery app can talk to Google Maps, right? But now, a totally new kind of user is here, the AI agent. And, well, it just doesn't play by the old rules. So that begs a pretty huge question. Is the fundamental architecture of the internet actually built for intelligence?
Okay, so to really get a handle on this challenge, we've got to start with the foundation of it all, the API. Now, even if you've never heard the term, I promise you, you use them every single day. They are the absolute backbone of the modern web. So what exactly is an API? Well, it stands for Application Programming Interface. That's just a fancy way of saying it's a set of rules for how different software can talk to each other. But honestly, the technical definition doesn't matter that much. There's a really simple analogy that makes this whole concept just click. Think of it like this. You're in a restaurant. You're the customer, or the client. The kitchen, that's the server with all the data, or, food that you want. The waiter is the API. You give a specific order, the waiter goes and handles all the complex stuff with the kitchen, and then brings back exactly what you asked for. You never have to know how the kitchen actually works.
And this whole waiter system works so incredibly well because of a few key things. It's a simple request-response pattern. You ask for something, you get it back. It's also stateless, which is just a technical term meaning the waiter has no memory of your last order. Every single request is a fresh start. This makes everything simple and really easy to scale up. But here's the most important part to remember. APIs are built for human developers to read the menu, the documentation, and then write their code.
This whole model has served us incredibly well for years. It's reliable, it's predictable, but what happens when the developer reading that menu isn't a person anymore? What happens when it's an AI agent, a large language model trying to get something done for you? Well, that's when the system starts to show some serious cracks.
Yeah, this is where things get tricky. See, APIs just weren't designed for an AI user. An AI needs to discover tools on its own. But with APIs, a human has to manually code every single connection. And that stateless thing we just talked about, for an AI, it's a huge problem. It means the AI has to be reminded of the entire conversation with every single message, which is wildly inefficient. And when something goes wrong, a generic error code like 404 not found is completely useless for an AI that's trying to figure out how to fix its own mistake. And finally, this one's a big deal. Just handing over sensitive API keys to a model is a massive security nightmare waiting to happen.
So, to fix all of these very specific problems, a new standard was created. It was designed from the ground up specifically for AI agents. It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short.
The whole idea behind MCP is to create a universal language that any AI model can use to safely and efficiently connect with any external tool. So it's not really about connecting one machine to another anymore. It's about connecting intelligence to machines.
I love this analogy because it's just perfect. Remember before USB-C? You had a different charger for your phone, your camera, your headphones. It was a mess. MCP aims to be that single universal standard, the one port for plugging any AI into any tool you can imagine.
And that's really the core idea. The goal is to get rid of all that custom, brittle glue code we were talking about. You just build your tool to one standard, and suddenly any AI can connect to it. We're talking about a true plug-and-play ecosystem for AI. So how does MCP actually solve those problems? Let's break it down. First, instead of manual coding, an AI can now dynamically ask a server, hey, what can you do? To fix that inefficiency problem, MCP is stateful, meaning it can actually remember the context of a conversation. For errors, it gives detailed, meaningful feedback that an AI can use to learn and self-correct. And for security, it keeps all the secret keys and credentials on the server where they're safe.
All right, so you might be thinking, okay, I get it. MCP is the new API. It's here to replace the old way. But that's not really the right way to see it at all. They aren't competitors, they're actually partners, designed to work together. Let me show you what I mean.
So, in the old world, before MCP, let's say you wanted your AI to use 3 different online services. Your developers would have to write and maintain 3 separate, fragile pieces of code just to connect the AI to each of those APIs. And if you wanted to add a 4th service, you guessed it, more custom code.
Now look at how MCP completely changes this picture. We're adding a standardized layer right in the middle. The AI only needs to speak one language, MCP. It talks to an MCP server, and that server becomes the expert translator. It's the server's job to handle all the messy, custom work of talking to the different services in the background, whether that's an old API, a database, or even your local files. All that complexity is now hidden away, keeping the AI application itself clean and simple.
Let's just put it side by side. APIs, they're for developers. MCP, it's for AI agents. With APIs, discovery is manual. You have to read the docs. With MCP, it's automatic. APIs are stateless. MCP is stateful. With APIs, security is basically your problem to solve. With MCP, it's handled by the server. See? They're fundamentally designed for completely different users and different kinds of tasks.
Here's probably the best way to think about their relationship. APIs are the roads, the bridges, the essential infrastructure of a city. You absolutely need them. MCP, then, is like a smart GPS that helps the AI navigate all those roads to actually get where it's trying to go.
Okay, so this all leads to a practical question. If you're a developer or a product manager building something today, how do you choose? Do you go with a traditional API, or should you be looking at MCP? Well, the answer really comes down to one simple thing. Who or what is your user?
Let's make this super clear. When should you stick with a good old-fashioned API? The answer is, for pretty much everything that isn't an AI agent. If you're building a mobile app that talks to a server or connecting two back-end systems, APIs are still the king. They give you that direct, fine-grained control and raw performance you need.
But the second your primary user is an AI agent, a little light bulb should go off in your head. That's when you should be thinking about MCP. If you're building an assistant or a co-pilot or any system that needs to intelligently figure out a complex, multi-step plan using a bunch of different tools, MCP is literally the framework designed for that exact job.
Look, if you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this. APIs connect machines to other machines. MCP connects intelligence to machines. They serve two different but totally complementary purposes in how software is evolving.
So I'm really curious to hear what you all think. Is MCP going to become that universal standard for AI, that USB-C for intelligence? Or do you think the ecosystem is just going to stay messy and fragmented? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And hey, if this breakdown helped you wrap your head around the future of AI infrastructure, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks so much for watching.